Hey everyone, so I'm going to start off April book pages with my recap, and I used this card right here from In a Creative Bubble as my inspiration to start on the colors and also the book lovers card. And I have my April veneer from Elle Studio and this card that I added a bunch of different stamps to. Especially love the one that says "Damn right, I'm good in bed." Because I stay up late and I read so many books. That is a hilarious stamp from Kellie Stamps. So I'm going to put this together and I'm going to use like a citrus type colors. That's what I think of. But I thought that they would work great for April. So I'm using orange, yellow, and green. And I'm just going to put down my cards and then my veneer. And I'm going to pop dot a few of the little bitty tiny books. And I'm just punching my holes because I've mentioned this before, but if I don't punch my holes, I typically will put something where it should not be. And so punching the holes ahead of time totally works for me. And I also have this new stamp set from Elle Studio, the book review or read stamp set, and I'm going to stamp out favorite. I was going to put it right next to the book lover, and I wanted it in green, but as you can see, once I stamped it on this card, I did not like it. It was too dark, so I decided to stamp it on a piece of paper, and I'm also going to stamp "Love This," and I think one other phrase I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to fussy cut those out, and then I will just add them onto the layout. Just going to pop dot that over by the bottom little card, and then there's the other phrase. Read this, I think. Yeah, read this. And so I'm going to pop dot that, and I think I'm going to put that by the book lover. Yeah, put it right there by the top of the book lover. And then some more pop dotted books, and then I'm done. I'm going to add it in there, and I am done. Love how my little recap spreads come together. They always come together really quick, and I love how it starts off the month. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I love this little recipe I have of including the books and a 3x4, and having this fun new stamp set was fun too. I'm so glad I have that stamp set now, and I loved my books this month. So let's get to making the pages now. So I was putting this layout together, and I was trying to put together the video to show you how this came together, but somehow it got deleted. So I'm just going to kind of tell you what I wound up doing. What I wound up doing is I found a free map, and I blended it in with a yellow mat to go with the bus. And these are Kellie Stamps, and these are Scrap and Happy Studio by Jen. And this is In a Creative Bubble, and I just changed it to blue, but I left the inside diamonds yellow. And I just layered on things with enamel dots and the long review and called it done. So let's move on to the next book process, spreads. Let's do the next book spread. This one is All We Ever Wanted. And I was just really struggling with how to make and decorate this page. I don't know why. I was stumped. But I just decided to go with what I had. I added a few repeated phrases that had something to do with the book. Well, they had the words referenced what happened in the book. And I just went with some pink paper, yellow paper, and a word phrase. And then that's it. I'm just going to stop fussing over it and just put it together. So here we go. So I'm going to start off with putting down that pink paper. I think it's all In a Creative Bubble papers, and then I either changed the colors or I just made them my own, because I want to say that pink pattern was a black, I think, but I'm not sure. And then I have this yellow grid, and then I'm going to layer my book cover on top. So like I said earlier, I kind of went with the colors that I already had in mind for this spread based on the book cover, which was blue and kind of yellow gold. And then pulling this girl card right here, it had some pink in it. So you just saw me rip off this card because I didn't put it up high enough. So I had to literally rip it off and trim some so that way I could fit it on there, because I wanted the card to sit on there and you could see her reading the book. So I had to rip it off. And now I pulled out my embellishments, which was the color cast designs, and then these awesome gold hearts and stars and X's from Elle Studio, which I think I was the most excited to use. So I'm going to put the phrases on, which is plot twist, and then a good book phrase from Kellie Stamps, and then all the gold stars, not stars, goodness, I can't talk, the gold hearts, and then some enamel dots too. And like I said, that was my favorite part, putting on those and sprinkling them, because it totally matched the book cover. So it made everything come together quick. Once I stopped fussing with it, there we go. It was done. It came together super quick, and I don't know why I fussed with it for so long, with figuring out my plan for how to put this book together, or this book spread together. But in the end, love this spread, and I love the pink and the yellow and the sprinkling of gold. So now we can move on to the next spread. All right, I am gonna put together this spread for the book Love and Other Words, and since this book was about books and reading, I decided to take a Brandy Kincaid brush and duplicate it and make my own custom background. And I also did the same with this custom paper, and I just kind of played around with colors and kind of made my own. It took me a while to decide if this is what I wanted, because I was struggling with the color scheme, but overall I like it, and I've had fun playing with my digital skills. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with that blended paper. I think it's a blended orange and a blended polka dot paper that I blended together to make my own custom color. I'm going to start with that, putting it across to create the continuity that I like to create. And then I'm going to put down the bookcase paper, and I don't know where I got those bookcases. I think that was in a Creative Bubble stamp set from her. So I'm going to put that down, and then I will put down the book cover as well. There we go. Lots of layers. And then I have this card. I think this was a black and white card from a kit from Brandy Kincaid a long time ago, but I changed it to pink. So I'm going to put that at the bottom, and I loved that. Bringing all this stuff together was challenging. I don't know why, but it was challenging just because of the different, I wanted to stick with the color scheme in the book cover, but I was having a hard time figuring out how I could make that work with my digital supplies. But in the end, it all worked out, and I love this spread. So once again, I'm using some color cast designs, book embellishments, and some acrylic stars that I've pulled out, and I'm going to put those on, and then this spread will be done. I have Cozy Up with a Book, I think, is on this side. And then the other one has a little stack of books. And then I have a bunch of acrylic stars as well. So this was another Christina Lauren book. And I think this book right here was like number 6 of the year. No, number 4. I don't know. I've lost count now at this point because I've read so many of this book from this duo. I just love them, and I literally devour the books, especially this one. This one was really good. So there we go. It's done. All right, so the next book spread that I'm going to put together is The Consequence of Falling, and I actually made an acetate transparency insert for that as well. You can see that here. I used a bunch of quotes, and then also a bunch of In a Creative Bubble hearts and phrases. And I also have some Kellie Stamps that I pulled out, and some Elle Studio acrylic hearts. I really went crazy with all the gold. I was excited to use gold, which isn't something I normally work with a lot. It's also hard to photograph. So I mean, like, why would you want to use gold if it's gonna be hard to photograph? So I am going to start by putting this yellow card. Once again, I changed the color of the yellow card because the card said I love books, and I think it was a deeper yellow. So I blended that with something else, I think, and I made my own custom light colored yellow. And then this one, I just combined the black card to make one long band, and that white heart is going to be covered by the book. So once again, just making my own stuff. I'm going to pop dot that heart, add the page turner, and then I'm going to figure out where I want my gold Elle Studio hearts. And then I will once again go crazy with those gold hearts from Elle Studio, the puffy ones. There we go, those ones. Yeah, I was so excited to use those, ridiculously excited. And I used them twice on the April book spreads, but they went perfect. Then I also found some gold enamel dots in my stash and sprinkled those on, and then the page was done. I love this page. It was fun. It was so fun to add all the hearts and be lovey-dovey with the spread. So there we go. All right, so here is the next one, Killing November. Totally loved this book. It was a little hard to stick with, but I really loved it. November wakes up in a old school, very gothic seeming academy, and all kinds of secrets ensue, and her family has secrets, and it's a very cool book. The imagery was really awesome. Like, I could totally see myself in that academy, so it was a very cool book in that way, and I'm excited to read the second one. So once again, I'm going to pull out my Read stamp set, and I'm going to build a little bookcase or like a shelf of books on the left side, because I knew that that would go perfect with the theme of Academy. So I took a long acrylic block and I just laid out my stamps, and I'm going to stamp them. Oh, I love how that came out. And then I'm going to add one more horizontal, and then I'm going to add two more, I think, on the right vertical. Maybe one more. Can't remember. But I love, love, love how that came out. There we go. One skinny, yep, one skinny, and then one bigger one, because that works perfect. I love finding ways for showing off the theme of the book. There we go. I'm going to add in my papers, which was a gray black that I made, and then I have a little strip that says For the Love of Reading, and then I'm going to stamp favorite, and then I will fussy cut it out. And then for this one here, I put must read. Excuse me, must read. So I put that one there. And then I'm also stamping some little, I don't know what you call them, retro asterisks, I guess. There we go. Just stamping a few. And then one down at the bottom. And then I also pull out some Elle Studio, the acetate shapes. And I could not figure out how to staple this half circle one, but I just kind of crumpled the paper and put a staple on and just called it good. And I also have some Elle Studio stars that I'm going to sprinkle. And then I found one really old Elle Studio deep red acrylic star. No idea where that came from, but I'm using it, and that's the good thing, right? And here's another in a Creative Bubble card. 'Tis the Season. It was a different type of red, and I turned it to make it a deep red to match the cover better. And then I have my For the Love of Reading that I put down, but you will see I try to rip it because I didn't like where it was at. Oy, oy, oy. So I ripped it, but I'm just going to leave it because I can't move it. I mean, I use permanent tape. I should know better. So I'm going to fussy cut out Favorite and Love This, and then I can put those down as well. And just trying to figure out where I want it as far as the acrylic star, excuse me. And then also I have the other half of the circle from the bookshelf. So I'm going to staple that on, and then I will get out my glue and put down the star. I thought that was so cool that I found that in my stash. Like, that just works perfect. It's the exact color that I needed. And then this one should be almost done. A little bit of stars, and it will be done. So, and oh, I found two really old epoxy Elle Studio that worked perfect too. A black one and then the other one. I think they're noteworthy, but they're not in shop anymore. But using up my stash, that's what's important. So there we go. Now it's finally done. Stop fussing with all those stars. And now I can call this book spread wrapped up. Love the bookshelf, like I said, love all the scattering of stars, and I loved this book. Such a good book. All right, let's move on to the last spread for April. So my last spread is this Be the Girl book, which was an awesome love story, and it's by one of my favorite authors, K.A. Tucker. I've read almost all of her books. And I also included this little graphic up at the top right by a book reviewer named Christy Baldwin. I'll leave her Instagram in the description. But I included that, and I basically went off of the colors in that image, and so I went with grays and blues and pinks. And I used a bunch of In a Creative Bubble, and then this paper is from Feed Your Craft. It's one of the, I think, bingeable, is that a word? I think that's what it's called, TN papers, and I just blended it with a pink matte, like a pink color matte, so that way I can make it my own and make it match the graphic at the top right. So I'm going to put that down first, and then I will pop dot the book cover in just a second. I'm going to put down this first, I guess, and then I will pop dot the actual book cover. I just wanted it to lift off of the pink. Sometimes I just like things pop dotted. Makes sense to me to pop dot it. And then I'm also going to add on a pink heart and then a blue circle heart as well. Then I also have one that says, is there a sequel? That's from Colorcast Designs. And then I have love this line because I added a few quotes on the left side. And then I will get out my enamel dots that I got from Feed Your Craft. I have some glitter pink ones that I've decided to use. And so I'll get those out and I will sprinkle those throughout the page. Love how the enamel dots and the heart just really add lots of visual movement and just add to my spread overall. So this spread is done. I love how it came together, and all my April pages are now done. All right, so let's take a look at April's books. I was going to try to stuff May in here, but I don't think I can stuff May. I'm not going to try. So this is April. I read 7 books, so it was a pretty good month. So I start with Coyote Sunrise, using some Scrap and Happy Studio epoxy flares. This one, love this book, Love in Other Words, and I made a custom background. Love it. This one, an absolute favorite book from the year, using acrylic and some quotes. Is that better? Just different quotes I found. And I even had to shrink the review because it was so long. The Consequence of Falling, a love story. I'll show you that one. This one was just more quotes, and I added some digital hearts, all the digital stamps. Killing November, and Be the Girl. There we go. Now the next video I will show is a walkthrough of this whopping book. So excited. Thanks so much for watching April process videos for my book reader. I hope you enjoyed. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you're new to my channel. Bye.